Hello, happy Tuesday. It's December 16th, and we have a lot to unpack. A lot of negativity. Like, the headlines here are pretty rough, including P. Diddy, Rob Reiner's murder, and Mahomes tearing his ACL. Now, I also want to talk about Disney and OpenAI, their $1 billion deal. But first, I got to tell you about... I'm just having a couple technical difficulties. For one, I'm using autofocus, so if this goes in and out of focus, I apologize. The manual, it's just not working. The exposure with the window light, it's just not working too well. But the technical difficulty that has been driving me crazy for the last week deals with Facebook. So, Facebook. I'm a 28-year-old man. I only use Facebook for one reason. And it is so that in my mornings, when I'm looking at my phone, I'll be able to go, oh, it's one of my friend's birthdays. Now, Facebook sends the happy birthday morning notifications every day, right? And most days out of the year, I go, oh, I don't care. Because, yeah, it's my Facebook friend, but it's not my, friend. But every now and then, like this past week, it was my buddy Ian's birthday. I was like, oh, shoot, I need to text Ian. It's a great reason to still have that application on my phone. But Facebook, is Meta collapsing so poorly that you need to drive traffic back onto your app by alerting me of birthday reminders at night? I know I'm not the only one getting these. Facebook is sending out notifications at nighttime saying, hey, time's running out. It's your friend's birthday. Wish him a happy birthday. I know. You told me in the morning. And I ignored it, Facebook, because I don't care. I know this. You know this. What are you doing? You really think I forgot? No. Now, I think the thing that pisses me off about this is the knowledge that I'm well aware. If I wanted to cut out the middleman, Facebook, I could. I could just write down all my friends, like all my loved ones' names, and I could spend a couple hours doing some research, finding their birthdays, writing them down, plugging them into their contact cards or into my calendar. But it kind of drives me crazy whenever a platform like Facebook forgets why people use Facebook. At least people my age. And even going into the settings and trying to turn them off. It's like, no, do you want to turn off birthday notifications? And I'm like, only in the nighttime. And they're like, nah. You're either getting all of the birthday notifications or none of them. So if I don't wish you a happy birthday, if you're watching this and you're like, Riley, forgot my... I did, and I'm sorry. But you can blame Facebook. Now, let's talk about something a little more important. Disney, OpenAI, and the latest endeavor. Last week, Hollywood, I'm not going to say they were in an uproar, because honestly, I felt like the backlash wasn't that bad. I didn't see a lot of discussion, but if you missed it, Disney signed a $1 billion deal with OpenAI, allowing their AI platform, Sora, which makes videos and photos, they're giving access, legal access, to Sora. To access over 200, I think it's around like 200 Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars characters to be used by Sora users to generate AI images, AI videos with these characters to be put onto social media. $1 billion. Sounds like a lot of money. And now, the contract is over 3 years. But the more information you learn about this deal, like the more questions you ask, the more logical plot holes just pop up. And you can poke holes in, like for example, like who is this for? Who is the primary demographic? No one really knows yet. Okay, well, what's the intended purpose? Is this to entertain people? Like, is the product to entertain? So they have to, or is the entertainment coming from the creation, the content creation, and then the sharing? It's, well, ideally both, right? But my problem with this deal, my prediction, is that it's not going to accomplish anything outside of Disney being able to get shareholders off their back. Because I'm sure a lot of people are going, well, what are you doing to, experiment with AI, to implement AI? I think a lot of Disney people are going, hey, we're going, hey, we're partnering with this promising platform, OpenAI or Sora, right? We're doing it. We're going to see what happens. However, they're already putting in creative guardrails, restrictions, so their users aren't able to do a lot of things. For example, let's say I'm a father and my kid loves Star Wars. It's their birthday. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna type in like a prompt saying like Darth Vader singing happy birthday. Wake up the kid, hey, good morning, and then I have James Earl Jones singing happy birthday. Not possible. Because Disney is not allowing voice actors to be a part of the package. They're not, I believe they're also not allowing the likenesses of their characters' talents, meaning that if you type in Luke Skywalker, you're going to get Mark Hamill, but it's going to be more of like an artificial depiction, a painting, a cartoon, whatever. Something very lifelike that looks like, that resembles Mark Hamill, but it's not exactly Mark Hamill. The point is, if I'm the dad and I'm typing in Darth Vader singing happy birthday and I can't get that, I'm going to go, well, I guess I'm going to go to any other AI platform. Well, that's illegal. Okay? I don't think that Disney is going to crack down on illegal usage of do you really think that Disney wants to spend billions of dollars over the next several years on legal fees, on having lawyers scour the internet to try to crack down on every AI generated creation that's technically? No, I call that bluff. I don't see that happening. No. Okay, well, what other uses can this be had? Like, who else is going to be using this? I mean, right now I'm seeing a lot of comedic purposes for AI. I see a lot of people creating a lot of funny videos with AI. So maybe you have like a teenage boy saying something like, Darth Vader, like, hey guys, check this out. Darth Vader getting head from Pocahontas. Ha ha. No. That's inappropriate. That's pornographic. Disney's not going to let that happen. OpenAI's not going to let that happen. Another platform will. Illegally, it'll happen. It'll be on the internet. It's there. Accessibility's not off the table. Like, it's off the table. It's gone. Disney's entire catalog's on the internet. If someone wants to access it, they have it. Now, I think when someone brings up this example, people are going to go, whoa, 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 who in their right mind would denigrate and make a disgusting video out of these beloved Disney characters? I don't know, teenagers? Weirdos, sickos, people wanted to deal in dark comedy? Have you seen the internet? You really don't think it's possible? It is. And if that is, and like, if that's all AI ends up being, just a route for people to create really weird stuff, Disney is not going to do well if they're already putting up creative guardrails. I'll give one last example and I'll move off this. It's kind of like have you ever like played with your niece or your nephew? You've played with a kid, right? And then you try to control the environment. It doesn't work. The kid loses interest. It's like you're playing with your baby cousin and you're playing basketball, right? But then the kid just starts throwing the basketball against a wall, ball against a wall, ball against a wall, ball against a wall. They're having the time of their life, but sometimes as an adult, you go, well, no, that's not its intended purpose. You can't do that. The ball goes in the hoop. And the second you start cracking down on the way that the kid is interacting with the product, the toy, the kid walks away. No, they're moving on. Their attention span, it's not even an attention span. It's like you're trying to control what's going on right now, and the kid is going, I just want to play. I think there are a lot of people who are using AI because they just want to goof around for a little bit. And I just don't think that's a great way to commodify something. I just don't think it's going to lead to anything productive for Disney, at least for right now. They could implement AI into their experiences alongside augmented reality, but that's for another episode. Okay, speaking of inappropriate behavior, the P. Diddy documentary, a 4-episode reckoning on Netflix, executive produced by Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. So, a few things. One, wow, yikes, my God, dude. I mean, I will admit my ignorance, because I grew up in South Dakota. I grew up listening to Christian rock, church hymns, and Simon and Garfunkel. My parents did not listen to Puff Daddy's music. I did not grow up listening to Tupac or Biggie. I know, shocker. But I think the only thing I knew about P. Diddy was through, like, free association, because I knew the wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy. And I'd be like, okay, I'd hear that song, and, you know, Kesha would stay, and I'd be like, okay, so I guess P. Diddy is a famous celebrity, or he's, like, cool, he's involved in rap music. Like, I never had a moment with P. Diddy that I did with Childish Gambino, where, you know, you listen to Childish Gambino's music, and, like, do you remember the first time that you watched a Childish Gambino music video, or just a video of him rapping, and you went, oh, that's Donald Glover. Donald Glover and Childish Gambino are the same person. I never had that with P. Diddy. And I think a lot of people did not have that. They weren't even really aware of him until this past decade and all of the, you know, criminal crap came out. My God. I mean, I was watching the documentary this weekend, and I was struck by a few thoughts. One of them being, this might be one of the best cases to show why the internet is good for society. Because if you're going to be that big of a POS in public on the internet, you have the hubris to record yourself doing all of it, to document the atrocities you're committing, you're not going to be able to hide. I mean, dude, he has a lot of court cases pending coming up in the near future. I hope justice is served, but also, my God, there's just so much to the story where you're like, I don't think I want to keep reading. I was pretty blown away by it. Which leads us into the news that it's not hard for me to talk about, but it's hard for me to wrap my mind around Rob Reiner's murder. A little bit of context. Rob Reiner is a Hollywood icon. Legendary filmmaker. He made films like Stand By Me. He directed one of my favorite films, When Harry Met Sally. He was a producer. He produced Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile. An incredible actor. Really a titan in the world of comedy. And he came from a comedic legend, Carl Reiner. Over the weekend, I think this was, 2 days ago, he was murdered. He and his wife, Michelle, were murdered, allegedly, by their son, Nick Reiner, who apparently has been dealing with mental illness, addiction, for quite some time. And the more details you learn about this story, the worse it gets. So, if I haven't said it already, the Reiners were stabbed to death. Like, apparently a lot. Like, they were found by their daughter. Nick Reiner is currently in custody. The police are saying he did it. Again, allegedly. He hasn't been rushed into the court just yet, as of this afternoon, December 16th. But it's just one of those tragedies where you watch it play out in real time, and you just feel bad for everyone involved. I mean, you pray that justice is served. You pray that Nick Reiner can get the help he needs, clearly. I read that Nick wrote a movie called Being Charlie that came out in the 2010s. That was somewhat autobiographical. That was showcasing the struggles of being homeless when you're young, of being addicted to substances. And I have loved ones who have struggled with alcoholism and other addictions, and I think everyone has. If you don't know anyone, you just aren't old enough yet, or it hasn't come out of the woodwork. So it's just tragic. It's really tough to watch. If anything, the only people who might be kind of relieved by this heinous news would be people at the University of Michigan with Sharon Moore, Coach Moore, or former Coach Moore. The guy who, not even a week ago, gets fired for having an inappropriate relationship with his executive assistant. Again, allegedly. And then, allegedly, just has a full-on breakdown, breaks into his mistress's home, threatens to kill himself with a knife, and then backpedals, and goes, I'm going to kill you because, as we all know, you can't kill yourself and then continue to make life decisions. The point is, that is a mess. There is a full-on probe investigation going on within that college football program. Whoa, that's bad. But at least Sharon Moore didn't actually kill himself. At least he didn't hurt, physically hurt someone. It's just heartbreaking to read about. It's really tough. So let's end with just a couple tidbits of positivity before talking about the dead dynasty in Kansas City. The NFL might be better off without a dynasty. It might be more entertaining. Now, that's the criteria I'm talking about. That's the metric. In viewership, I think the story will be different. I think that in the playoffs, you're going to see lower viewership numbers. If the wild card week 1 is between, I don't know, like the Texans being hosted by Jacksonville. Division rivals for sure, but you would like to see the Kansas City Chiefs in there. Or at least the NFL would. But with the Chiefs falling away out of the playoffs, how can you not take a look around the league and go, yeah, there's a reason why the NFL is better than every other sports program in creating entertaining competitions. There have been 4 or 5 great games every week. Last week, I would have told you the main difference between the AFC and the NFC is that the NFC is filled with teams who have the potential to win any game they play. Any team in the NFC could win. Whereas in the AFC, any team could lose. It's wide open in the AFC. Who are you going to bet on? The Patriots? I don't know, they just fell to the Bills at home. You're going to bet on the Bills? Dude, the Bills are one injury away from looking like the Chiefs. Josh Allen is keeping Buffalo's playoff hopes, their Super Bowl hopes alive. I mean, you go down the list and you see a lot of teams in the AFC, like the Broncos and the Texans and the Jaguars, and you're seeing these teams that are promising, but they're by no means safe bets. But that's what's exciting. I have no idea what's going to happen this season. I have hopes. I have fears. But now you look at the NFC, and coming off this past week with the Packers losing, and they lose Micah Parsons, I mean, they could flip-flop with the Lions and be out of the playoffs. I really think so. However, the Lions, once again, do you really bet on them when they're going to lose their division to the Bears? Ooh, I see my battery's going to die. Let's see if I can keep this going and wrap it up. The point is, the Chiefs are done. The Chiefs are out. And living in Kansas City, I have listened to a lot of people and gotten a lot of point of views from people. So, in terms of do we need to rebuild? A lot of people go, we need to do this or they need to do that. I just want to voice a couple of my hopes for the team. The first one is this. I hope that in the offseason, General Manager Brett Veach makes decisions that make me angry. Yeah, my team is the Kansas City Chiefs. I've lived in Kansas enough to hop on the bandwagon. This is year 2. It's been a rough ride so far. But as a fan, I hope that Brett Veach moves off players like Trent McDuffie, Karlaftis. I think Leo Chanel is underrated. I like these guys. I like Pacheco. I like Kareem Hunt. We're not winning games. All right, hold on. Let me separate my fandom and be objective. Refer to the Chiefs as the Chiefs, not we. It would be tough to see these players leave, but it's good to do new things. Endings are important. Is the dynasty dead? This chapter, at the very least, is over. Turn the page. You don't get to see the best player on the field, the best player on the team, Mahomes, go down with a season-ending, possibly next season-ending injury and go, no, we're okay. That's not how it works. Like, denial only runs so long, right? So I hope that Veach makes decisions that are not just beneficial for the team, but that are surprising, that are different, that elicit real, raw emotions out of the fan base. Secondly, I hope Kelsey retires. Because if he doesn't retire, then I think the fan base will turn on him. You can only drop so many passes. You can only bobble so many balls that end up as interceptions. I mean, he has made two of his greatest mistakes of his career this season against the Jaguars and against the Texans, who ended up being playoff rivals, competing for the wildcard slots. You can't lose those games. And it's wrong to blame one player for an entire team's loss, but when you are relying on that player that much and you are propping them up when they're old and aging, the results like these will follow, and we shouldn't be surprised. So I hope he moves on. I hope that he's doing so many awesome things in his personal life and his new professional lives. I hope he just sticks with them. And last but not least, is the dynasty dead? Before this last weekend's game, I would have said, no, dynasty's not dead. You'd be a fool to bet against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. But like I said, you can only deny what's in front of you for so long. And now, I believe that the Chiefs, the dynasty is dead unless you can show proof of life. That's not just from winning games. That's at bare minimum continuing the standard of excellence and being able to bring the team back to the playoffs in 2026. Those are my hopes for the Chiefs, but we take it a day at a time, and yes, we're going to be talking about all this and more soon. The one thing I didn't get to talk about today that I wanted to was Netflix and Paramount with Warner Brothers Discovery at the heart of this bidding war, but there's a lot to unpack there and try to talk about, understand, so we'll get back to that sooner rather than later. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Comment below, questions, disagreements. Let me hear what you're thinking and feeling. Talk soon.